All right, so let's just do one real quick example. All right, I'm just going to do it directly on the PowerPoint. Okay, so suppose we had a demand curve, P equals negative 0.5 QD plus 1550, and the price moves from 1250 to 1400. Let's calculate the change in consumer surplus. Okay, so here's my axis. What's on the X? That's right, it's quantity. What's on the Y? That's right, it's price. Okay, which way does demand slope? It slopes down. Okay. All right, so my intercept, I'm going to just draw a line here. My intercept should be 1550. Okay. And presumably at some point I had a price of 1250 as my equilibrium. So you can imagine a supply curve running up here and hitting 1250. And you can imagine a second supply curve after some sort of change running up here and hitting 1400. Okay. So this will be P1 equals 1250. This is P2 equals 1400. All right. So area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Okay. And consumer surplus 1 is going to be the area of let's even do this. Let's color code consumer surplus 1. So the area consumer surplus 1, in fact, this is gross looking too. Let's see if I can get a little bit tighter. But I want the area of consumer surplus 1 to be from P1 to 1550. All right, that's much tighter, much better. Okay, so that's consumer surplus 1, and that's equal to, so 1/2. All right, and what's my base? I need to find the equilibrium quantity when P is equal to 1250. Okay, I might actually do this in Excel. It's just so much easier to write. I'm sorry, guys. I'm learning too. All right, let's have them. Let's do this bit. All right. So you see the graph. So I have consumer surplus 1 is equal to 1/2 base times height. We need to know what the equilibrium quantity. What is the equilibrium quantity when P equals 1250? Okay. So we know the equation for the demand curve. So we can find what the equilibrium quantity is. As soon as I kind of clear things up a little bit Excel-wise. Okay. So P equals negative 0.5 Q D plus 1550, which is in turn equal to 1250. Subtract 1550 from both sides, you get negative 0.5 QD. QD is equal to negative 300. And then divide both sides by negative 0.5, and you get QD is equal to 600. Okay. So this equilibrium quantity is 600. Okay. All right, so you have consumer surplus 1 is equal to 1 times, now you have your base of 600. What about your height? Well, the height is this guy here on the left side here. I don't know if you can see me filling it in, but this is your height over here. Okay, and we know that the y-intercept is 1550. So we have 1 point, and then we know that this is going to be 0, 1250 because that's the equilibrium price. And then I can write 1550 minus 1250 here. And then I'm just going to simplify that bad boy because that's 300. And then I'm going to get so I'm going to have 4 zeros and then 1800 divided by 2. So I'm going to get 90,000. So my consumer surplus is 90,000. Okay. That's my first consumer surplus. What about when price is, whoa, hey-oh, I want to copy. What about when price is $1,400, right? The new price. So we can do all the same exact steps. So subtract 1550 from both sides. So I get negative 150, 1550 minus 1400 minus 1550. Divide both sides by negative 0.5. So I'm going to get 300. Okay, so 300 is the new base. What's the new height? It's still going to be 1550, but now it's going to be 1550 minus 1400. So that'll be, right, this area here. When so CS2 is when price 2 is equal to 1400. Okay, we have a new equilibrium quantity down here, which we said was 300, right? So we want the area of this triangle in here, this blue triangle, which would be 300 times 1550 minus 1400 times 1/2. Okay. So this will now be 300, and this is down to 150 now because it's 1550 minus 1400, and you'll have 3 zeros and 45. So consumer surplus has gone down from 90,000 to 45,000. Okay. So let me just rewrite the problem in here. P equals negative 0.5 QD plus 1550. What is the change in consumer surplus when P star goes from 1250 to 1400? All right. So first we found the equilibrium quantities. That formed the base of our triangle. And then the difference between the intercept and the price, P star, was the height of our triangle. And that's basically getting at the max willingness to pay minus the price paid. And then finally, once we had that, we had the area of our triangle. We just needed to plug it into the 1/2 base times height formula. Okay. So I realize my big old head is in the way, so I'll move this over so y'all can see it. All right. So here's the question up at the top. I find whenever you have these consumer surplus questions, it's helpful to do the graph and then figure out what did I just do. Do the graph, even if you don't need it, it's helpful. Okay. Okay. So the new surplus is A, change in surplus is B minus C, or negative B plus C, I should say. And that's just another way of representing it graphically with a much neater graph. All right.